Some shotgun reviews, and that'll be fun for you guys. So first thing we want to say is that we're going to be shooting the Field and Target Multi-Purpose Load. It's 7.5 shot, and it's available at any Walmart. Nothing special. What we're going to be using for caddies are the California Competition Works caddy and the Mountain Man Engineering caddy. Great for reloads. So, having said that, let's get into our shotguns. The first one is a 1300 Defender. It's chambered for 2 3/4 and 3-inch shells. Great, in my opinion, it's the best shotgun out there for home defense. It's got dual action bars. It's got an 18.5-inch barrel, and it's just a regular choke that comes with the gun. So it would be a cylinder bore choke. And then it's fast pump action. Some of these are called the speed pump. This one's very, very stock, and it works great. So we'll shoot that in a second. And actually, let's see how that does now. Okay, so here's what the pattern looks like on the Winchester Defender 1300 stock. Wow, that is a pretty tight pattern, and I'm only about 10 feet too. So as you can see, that's a really fast shooter as well. It's one of the best home defense guns. Very, very cheap, under $300. You guys can pick it up at probably on gunbroker.com, since they don't really make these anymore. If they do, they make it shorter too. Okay. Next gun we're going to get into is the same thing. It's a 1300 Winchester Defender. Same exact thing. Takes 2 3/4 and 3-inch shells. The only thing is this has been modified for tactical home defense, and it has magnet ports on top. It has the Sage International shotgun sights. It has a side saddle shell carrier, and it holds 7 rounds as well. Great gun for indoor defense. And let's see how this one does. And this is what the pattern looks like on there. Very, very fast shotgun. My gosh, my favorite shotgun ever. Okay, as you can see, this is probably my favorite shotgun of all. So this is what I use for competition in heavy metal, and actually for home defense. Actually, not for heavy metal, because it's ported. I do use a regular Winchester 1300 that doesn't have the ports here. So great shooter. Recommend you guys. Under $300 also. With all the additions, it's probably another $200 or $300 on top of that. Alright, so the next thing we're going to get into is the old Mossberg 500. This one is just a stock Mossberg 500. It's got a 20-inch barrel. It's capable of holding 7+1 rounds. It's got the heat shield here, and it's very, very stock. This is what we use at Rhino Tactical to train large groups of people. We have about 20 rentals of these. So let's see how this one does. Not too bad. Good pattern. A little bit rougher though of a gun. Okay, as you can see, this one's a little bit more rougher to shoot. Mossberg is, I mean, these are great shotguns for the price. You can get this one for, I would say, for about $250 at a big 5. And the great guns, you can shoot them into the concrete, or I mean, just throw them into the concrete and stuff, and they're a heck of a worker. So great shotguns if you want a more rougher of a shotgun for home defense. Again, it takes 2 3/4 and 3-inch shells as well. Alright, the next one we're going to get into is the same thing. It's the Mossberg 500, except with a pistol grip. So same explanation. It's got a 20-inch barrel, 7+1, takes 2 3/4, 3-inch 12-gauge rounds. And let's see how this one does. A little bit different dispersion there, especially shooting from the hip. Not too bad though. Really good actually. Again, you can see this one is pretty darn rough, but it's a great shooter. So if you're budget conscious and you want to get something like this, it's fantastic for home defense as well. All right. Next thing we're going to get into is these are 18.5-inch Stoger. I use these for cowboy competitions, but they're great home defense. They have 2 separate chokes. It's a paired cylinder and a cylinder bore choke. and they take 2 3/4 or 3-inch shells on these as well. The only thing is these hold 2 rounds each. So great shooter for home defense, especially for Western combat. Fantastic shooter. Let's see how this one does.
Not a bad pattern on that thing.
So as you can see, that was a great shooter as well. I have to use a different rig because in Western combat you're not allowed to use any of the high-speed, low-drag implements. So as you can see, I was wearing a custom rig that we made, and the shot shells were held in groups of 2. So next thing, the same thing, is the Stoger. Stoger's a 12 gauge, same exact thing. It's got the impaired cylinder and a cylinder bore, 18.5-inch barrel, takes 2 12 gauge. 2 3/4 or 3-inch shells. Fantastic gun. This one's a little bit rough. Let's see how this one does.
Yeah, a little bit of a problem ejecting on this one, but see how we did. That is a good pattern. Look at that. That's really good.
So as you can see on this Stoger, since no work was done to it, had a little bit of problems ejecting the shells on that. But once these things are worked on, they work really well, as you saw in my previous, the regular smoked one. They also make a Stoger 12 gauge Tactical, which is the exact same thing, except it's really cool because it's stealth black, and it has a Picatinny rail here, a Picatinny rail here, and it's also ported. So you guys should look into that shotgun. We might be picking a couple up in a couple months just to test them out. But great shotguns. But like I said, some of the rough ones need a little bit of a work, and triggers need to be kind of like redone, and this spring here needs to probably be redone, make it a little bit looser. But other than that, you know, okay gun, you know, for what it is. The next shotgun we're going to look at is the Remington 870. It's the standard issue of LAPD, except they carry the wooden version. This is a personal gun that I use for patrol. It's got a extender which makes it 7+1. It's got the regular sights on it. It's got a side saddle shell carrier which has the double aught shells. It also has more capacity on this side. It's got dual action arms, same thing. Very easy to cock, and great shooter. Let's see how this one does.
There's for the 870 Remington. Pretty nice pattern for that fast.
So as you can see, that's a really good shooter. That's my favorite for patrol. We are also allowed to carry the Benelli, but if you have a choice between a pump or a semi-automatic, I recommend that you do the pump, because semi-automatics, in my opinion, they might jam, whereas these are old, faithful, and they can function quite reliably. So the next one we want to look at is the Benelli. This is my competition gun, and it was done by Rob Melhorn of Salient Arms, and it's got a 18.5-inch barrel with a modified choke, and this extended tube holds 7, actually it holds 8+1. It's got the lightened action. It's got the extended lever there, and it's got a ambidextrous safety, and all the work has been done, like I said, by Rob Melhorn. Great 3-gun. This is my favorite 3-gun gun. Let's see how that does.
That is the devastating firepower of the Benelli M1 Super 90. As you can see, it's pretty fast, just a little bit temperamental.
Okay, so we hope you guys enjoyed that little review. Again, my favorite would have to be this one, which is the modified 1300 Winchester Defender, with all the beautiful attachments on there for home defense and or tactical competition. So anyway, hope you guys learned a lot from that, and hope you guys can choose a shotgun that is to your liking. And we'll see you next time at Rhino Tactical. Bye-bye.